Lucas joining us right now. And Abe, my first question for you has nothing to do with the game coming up this Sunday
All right.
and everything to do with the gifts that offensive linemen received. Did Gino and or Drew get you guys anything?
There was a wine decanter in my locker. I don't know who it was from though, and I haven't really inquired, so it could have been from.
From anyone?
I was just, I mean, like.
Did you take it home?
Oh, of course I took it home, but like a bunch of people had them, and I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then I didn't ask like who it was from or anything.
Yeah.
So I imagine it was from one of them.
Didn't have a card on it or anything?
No, it was like half wrapped in like a bag and like with all the paper around it, but you could just totally see what it was. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you
Didn't
just
ask
holding it
questions.
up and giving an eye like, all right.
appreciate
taking
it.
this.
Gabe, you played the whole game last game. I think your first game back, you played like 50%, then 80%, and 100% back. Was that part of the plan, or were they kind of checking with you when you went to the sideline, see how you were feeling?
That was more so the plan of like the first game. I think that was Dallas. They had told me, hey, you're gonna probably go 50%. I was like, fine. And then they kept checking in on me throughout the game. And then what was it, the Niners next week? The Niners, I thought it was gonna be 50% again. And then I came out for one drive, and then they asked me like, are you good? Are you good to go? And I was like, well, yeah, I can go. And then they're like, okay, you're back in. And then from then on, it was just
Nice.
full reps.
Yep.
Did it take you a while to get back into the flow? I mean, you started as a rookie. I mean, most guys don't. And so did you feel like you got a little bit interrupted, or were you able to keep that same flow that you had from last year?
I mean, I don't really look at it as like a continuation. I kind of look at it as like year to year type thing. I mean, obviously this year for me has been different because I've missed most of the year, but I would say that I'm still kind of getting back into it. I mean, there are a lot of guys have played a lot more football this year than I have, and it's not that it takes a while to get going, but reps are the most important thing. And when you have guys who have already had thousands of reps this year, and then somebody like me who's trying to get to that mark and just get myself going, so I'm just continuing to move forward in that regard.
What was that process coming back like? I mean, like, I'm sure there were different levels too. First, I'm doing nothing. Then I'm able to do walkthrough. Then I'm sure the entire time you were in meetings. What was going on behind the scenes kind of ramping up to your return?
So initially after my little injection that I got, I actually wasn't like around the building for a couple weeks at all. And that was just mainly for like they wanted me to rest as much as I could, and I couldn't really walk because it hurt. So I was just kind of I was staying at home. I was watching football. I was trying to stay busy, not go stir crazy. And then, like you said, I kind of worked my way progressively back into meetings, and then meetings in maybe one or two walkthroughs, and then started being like non-contact sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a gradual build-up.
Yeah.
Two games, 2 game-winning drives, 2 different quarterbacks. What are the differences and the similarities of the huddle when you got Drew leading the charge for a game winner and Gino leading the charge for a game winner?
I don't know if there's too many differences, honestly. I mean, the only difference is that they're not the same person. Like in my mind, I mean, for me and for the O-line, it's all the same. We got to block and we got to do our assignments, and it doesn't really matter who's behind us. We just protect for them.
Hey, we were just talking about, it seems like to me, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like this is the year of the screen. Everybody's running screens all the time. Is that the timing on that? You've got to do a fair amount of acting, right? Like you can't let that defensive lineman know that you're letting him go, right? Is that a play that you guys run that it takes a particular amount of practice and reps and things like that? It seems like they say some teams are good at screens, some aren't. What do you think about the execution of that? Is that something that just comes from practice?
I mean, I would say it just more or less comes from practice. I mean, some teams do it more than others, obviously, but some teams it's part of their scheme more. You know what I mean? And so, some teams practice it a lot. Some teams practice it sometimes. And I mean, every play kind of has its own special technique that you can use, and it also depends on the front you're looking at, who you're going against, and all that. So there's a lot of factors that kind of contribute to that.
When Russell Wilson was still here, we used to always ask offensive linemen, because he would obviously have these scramble plays or he'd randomly end up somewhere else. And we used to always ask offensive linemen, like, what's it like blocking for, a mobile quarterback at the time early in his career? It's like, mobile quarterbacks. A bit different when it comes to a running back, because there are plenty of guys that, can be really explosive. But have you ever had that moment with Ken Walker where you're like, how did he get 20 yards downfield? Like, he just has these crazy plays. Have you had that moment?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, Ken's a special running back, and this early in his career, it looks like it's obviously very promising. I mean, we're part of the same class. Some of the stuff that he's able to do is just like mean, you can't help but just like be like, wow, you
Yeah.
know. And it's great for like us as O linemen because it's like if you miss a block and he makes his way out of it, then it's like okay, like it wasn't as bad as maybe
Yeah.
it looked, you know. So that's nice.
You could still claim the block. Like, a cornerback will be like, not on me when the
Exactly.
ball's. I think you should do the equivalent of that. Like, just start flexing.
I don't know if that's really my style.
Probably not. All right. He is Abe Lucas, kind enough to join us after practice and chat about this game and this team for a bit. Abe, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, you guys. We are going to have Devin Bruce joining us next. Don't go anywhere.